Most people have no idea, but the truth is, you're never really alone. Not for a second. There are spiritual forces around you all the time, quiet but insanely powerful, working behind the scenes in areas of your life you'd never expect. And no, this isn't just some vague faith thing. We're talking about real beings assigned by God with specific missions. They play a direct role in your protection, your healing, your decisions, even your financial breakthroughs. And here's the craziest part: most people go their whole lives without even knowing their names. The truth is, archangels aren't some fantasy characters or decorative figures from Bible stories. They're active in your spiritual walk. They're connected to your emotions, your crises, your inner clarity, your emotional strength, and even those major life transitions. Each of the 12 archangels has a purpose, a unique role, and a power that you can and should tap into. But to do that, you've got to know who they are and how they work, both in the spiritual world and in your daily life. So if you've ever felt like something bigger is guiding your steps but couldn't quite explain it, this video is for you. Get ready to dive into a spiritual wisdom most people never get taught. Wisdom that could completely change how you see God, spirituality, and the divine power that surrounds you. We're about to uncover who the 12 archangels are and what each one can activate in your life. Sometimes life feels like a battlefield, and not just because of everyday problems. I'm talking about a spiritual war, invisible but very real. That's where Archangel Michael comes in. He's the ultimate symbol of strength, courage, and divine protection. And yeah, it's no coincidence his name literally means "who is like God." If you've ever felt overwhelmed by fear or spiritual pressure out of nowhere, that's a sign. You need Michael's power in your corner. Too many people underestimate the power of practical spirituality. But when you pray with faith, calling on Michael to protect you from negativity or spiritual attacks, things start to shift. Something as simple as a short prayer before bed, asking him to watch over your home and dreams. I've seen people go from sleepless nights to deep, peaceful rest. It's like putting up spiritual armor and letting God take over. And here's the amazing part. Michael doesn't just fight for you, he inspires you. On tough days, when everything feels heavy, he fills you with strength that can only come from above. It's like his sword cuts through the negativity, and his shield pushes away anything trying to stop you. Once you start living with this awareness, you'll realize nothing's random. It's all divine direction. Speaking of direction, there's another archangel who's all about that. Ever had one of those moments when all you need is a clear answer, just one solid direction? That's when Gabriel shows up, the divine messenger, the one who delivers heaven's messages right on time. His name says it all. God is my strength. When your mind is all over the place, when your connection with God feels distant, Gabriel shows up as that quiet nudge you didn't even know you needed. You know that gut feeling like, I don't know why, but I just feel like I should do this. That's often Gabriel whispering divine wisdom straight to your spirit. You can connect with him through prayer and reading the Word, especially in passages like Luke 1, where he announces Jesus' birth. You can even journal your deepest questions and just wait on God. That's when Gabriel usually moves, in quiet, surprising ways. But Gabriel doesn't just deliver messages. He moves you into action, that random project you suddenly feel pulled to start, that person who shows up out of nowhere. That's not a coincidence. Gabriel doesn't knock on your door unless heaven has something to say. And when heaven speaks, the best thing you can do is listen and be ready, because the next archangel, he's all about healing. Some pain no medicine can touch, especially the kind that lives in your soul. That's where Raphael comes in. His name literally means God heals, and his power reaches places no human hands ever could. When your spirit is aligned, even what seemed impossible starts to shift. I've seen people facing tough diagnoses feel a peace that makes no sense. That's Raphael at work. But don't think he only shows up in hospitals or emergencies. Raphael also moves when you forgive someone, when you stop holding on to bitterness that's been weighing you down mentally and spiritually. Try this. Write a letter to your past self, the one who's still hurting. Forgive that version of you. Pray and ask Raphael to guide you in that process. This isn't some cheesy self-help. It's spiritual awakening. It's letting God and the strength of Jesus step in and restore your inner world. And once you begin to heal on the inside, everything around you starts to make more sense. Healing brings light, and where there's light, there's wisdom. And that's where another archangel comes in, ready with a burning sword to light up your next spiritual step. Ever felt lost, even when you're doing all the right things? You might be missing spiritual wisdom, and that's Uriel's domain. His name? God is my light. He doesn't just bring answers, he brings clarity. It's like he shines a divine flashlight right onto the area where you've been stumbling in the dark without even realizing it. When Uriel lights up your path, even the chaos starts to make sense. He doesn't show up in noise or confusion. He comes in stillness. When you choose to shut off the world and lean in to hear God, try this. Set aside 10 minutes a day, no phone, no noise, just you and divine presence. Ask what you need to understand and trust. Uriel answers in ideas, dreams, random phrases, or even someone crossing your path unexpectedly. When wisdom enters, it clears the clutter. You start to see what really matters. It's like opening the windows after days of darkness. And as that clarity settles in, you start to feel more connected to your purpose. And speaking of purpose, ever thought about the fact that someone's keeping track of all of this? Metatron isn't a name you hear every day, and maybe that's why he's one of the most mysterious and powerful archangels out there. Known as the one who stands behind the throne, Metatron is the guardian of the heavenly records. Yep, everything you do, think, and feel is being spiritually recorded. But don't get spooked. It's not about judgment. It's about awareness. Because once you realize there's purpose behind every choice, you start living with more intention and positivity. Metatron reminds us that nothing is wasted. That random act of kindness, that heartfelt prayer, even that tough moment of forgiveness, it all gets written in this invisible book that shapes your spiritual path. Want to tap into that, practically? Start a spiritual journal. Write down your insights, your prayers, your tough choices. It helps you become more self-aware and track your own growth. And Metatron loves that kind of energy. And he's not just recording, he's guiding. Ever feel like you're on the right path, but still hesitating to take the next step? That gentle push you need? That's Metatron nudging you forward. It's like he's whispering, keep going, heaven sees you. And when you realize you're being spiritually supported, your heart opens up. And that's where the next archangel shines, with love. When your heart shuts down, life loses its color. That's why Samuel steps in, to swing the doors of your heart wide open again. He's the archangel of unconditional love. The kind of love that doesn't demand or judge. It just is. Pure, healing, and real. If you've been struggling to forgive, to trust, or even to love yourself, that's a clear sign you need Samuel's presence. You'll often notice him in the little things. An unexpected message from a loved one, a hug that somehow heals more than words, even a pet that just gets your pain. You can call on Samuel anytime you're dealing with emotional turmoil, especially in your relationships. A simple practice: write down the name of someone you're holding resentment toward. Pray over that name, asking for divine love to fill your heart. Then just observe how your energy begins to shift. Because the more love you give, the more you receive. It's a spiritual law Samuel activates in your life. Love transforms everything, and once your heart is open, beauty starts to show up in places you never noticed before. The kind of beauty Jophiel brings isn't about appearances. It's about perspective. He helps you see with soul eyes, even when life feels dull or gray. His spiritual presence awakens gratitude, lightness, and that warm feeling that everything has a touch of the divine. Jophiel highlights the sacred in the everyday, a sunrise, a genuine laugh, a song that gives you chills, that spirituality wrapped in beauty. If you've been feeling disconnected, uninspired, or just kinda blah, try calling on Jophiel. Light a candle, put on soft music, read a psalm like 27 or 121, then just breathe. These simple acts reawaken your spiritual awareness and reignite your inner light. He won't just help you see beauty around you, but also within you. Sometimes it's not about gaining more wisdom, it's about seeing what you already have in a whole new light. And once your soul starts to light up, life just flows easier. Relationships soften, decisions become clearer, because divine beauty brings harmony. And speaking of harmony, there are wounds that time can't heal, but forgiveness can. That's where Zadkiel comes in. He reaches out when your heart's too heavy to move forward. He's the Archangel of divine mercy, the kind that flows from God through you. When you finally learn to release what's been holding you back, Zadkiel's right there, helping loosen the emotional chains you didn't even know were weighing you down. People love to say, "Oh, I've forgiven them." But if just thinking about someone still tightens your chest, the healing isn't done. That's your cue. Call on Zadkiel. Pray a surrender prayer. Say out loud that you're releasing the past. Then write down everything you're letting go of and burn the paper. It's simple, it's symbolic, it's powerful. That's real active spirituality, bringing healing with force and intention. Once mercy flows in, the soul breathes easier. You feel lighter, clearer. Zadkiel doesn't show up to judge, he shows up to cleanse. And when things start falling back into balance, a new energy enters your life. Joy. And speaking of joy, some days just feel gray, right? Like no matter what you do, you're dragging. That's when Haniel steps in. He's the archangel of spiritual joy, the kind of peace that doesn't rely on outside circumstances. Haniel doesn't bring momentary happiness. He brings lasting peace, the kind that only comes from God and aligns you with what truly matters. Call on Haniel when life feels heavy, when your emotions are all over the place, or when you just feel spiritually numb. Here's a simple habit. Start your morning by writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Then give the day to God with a smile, even if it's a small one. Haniel moves through these little rituals. Joy is spiritual strength disguised as gentleness. And here's the best part. Joy is contagious. When you carry God's presence with joy, you light up rooms. You improve your relationships. You inspire change. Haniel reminds us that balance doesn't come from the absence of problems, but from the presence of awareness. And once you're spiritually aware, justice has room to show up. Raguel enters when life feels unfair, when the scales seem totally off balance. His name is tied to fairness, peace, and spiritual justice. But here's the thing, he's not here for revenge. He's here for restoration. And that takes real spiritual maturity. Because sometimes what we call unfair is just an invitation to wake up and grow. You can call on Raguel during conflict, especially family drama, workplace chaos, or unresolved tensions. Try this. Write out the situation, pray for justice and peace, and then ask yourself if there's anything you can do to help bring resolution. It's not always easy, but it's deeply spiritual. Raguel shows up when you choose reconciliation over being right. And when he moves, things align in the most unexpected ways. Some people fade out of your life, others suddenly show up. Confusion turns into clarity, because God doesn't just work through justice, he works through compassion. And speaking of compassion, there's an archangel who protects the ones who can't protect themselves, the earth. Ariel, the lioness of God, has a strength that runs deeper than her gentle appearance. She's the protector of life, animals, forests, oceans, even the wind. Ever feel the urge to walk barefoot on grass? Or just look up at the sky and breathe? That's Ariel reminding you, nature is a mirror of God. Creation is living, breathing spirituality. Want to feel Ariel's energy more? Plant something, a flower, a tree, even a tiny herb garden. Care for the earth. Feed an animal. Make sustainable choices. This is hands-on spirituality, and it matters, because the planet needs strength, awareness, and the presence of Jesus too. And when you connect with nature, something inside heals. The air you breathe, the food you grow, the silence of the mountains, it all speaks to the soul. Ariel reminds us, spirituality isn't just in the skies, it's in the ground too. And when it's time to say goodbye to that ground, there's one more archangel who steps in with peace.